You've got to love Cupra's distinctive, sinister character when it comes to hot hatches. This is the latest model called the Cupra Leon VZx. It's the most hardcore Leon you can get in Australia. Obviously, it's based on the Volkswagen Group platform like the Golf GTI and Golf R, except unlike the Golf R, this is front-wheel drive. So under the bonnet, you've got a 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder engine, 221 kilowatts, 400 Newton meters, based on the EA 888, matched up to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. Basically the same tune as the Golf R not that long ago, but yeah, sending it through the front wheels. Very exciting package. I love this matte kind of very deep green paintwork. Matches beautifully with those bronze highlighted alloy wheels. It just looks so sinister and like a little troublemaker. The 19-inch wheels are wrapped in 235/35 Bridgestone Potenza S005 tyres. You've got floating discs behind the front there, cross-drilled, multi-piston calipers, and fully ventilated rear disc. Still got good practicality inside, good visibility as well. I can see over the side mirror. You've got a bit of a gap between the mirror and the pillar as well. Even the pillar itself is quite thin. And around the back, it is a pretty low-slung hatchback design, but decent view. The D pillar is not too thick, and you've actually got a tiny little quarter window there. But yeah, overall, it's not intimidating to drive. You do sit pretty low, being a hot hatch. You've got these awesome hip-hugging sports seats in the front. Quite an aggressive dashboard style, different trims and materials and so on. Bronze stitching to match the sort of bronze theme. And up on the dash, the latest 12.9-inch touchscreen interface. It does have kind of semi-physical controls for the volume and temperature, but other than that, pretty much everything is within the screen. You do have some options down here, like your brake hill hold and all that sort of thing, and your traction control off button, and then your start button is actually on the steering wheel. The screen is pretty good. It's got a little pull down menu there for quick options, so you can turn the lane keep assist off if you want to, the stop start off, and then all your apps in a grid layout. You can go through and configure the different safety systems and all of that, check out the vehicle status, driving information, trip computer and all of that. And then back in the driver profile, you've got your different drive modes that you can play around with. Overall, not a bad screen. It's a little bit too big, like my line of sight is there, and it's kind of just chewing into my view just a little bit. And I don't like having no volume knob. I mean, the buttons, it's better than having some pull down menu just to adjust the volume. And it is good to have those temperature controls readily available, but yeah, I would prefer more physical controls if I could choose. Nice instrument cluster. You can change the views down here as well, so you've got different themes and layouts and so on. And it's all very easy to read. It's quite simple, but at the same time, easy to configure. You've got this little arrows here, and you can actually change what you want to display on the left and right as well. Wireless phone charger down on the console here. It kind of is sloped, and it's got these little walls to hold the phone from sliding about. Nice big bottle holders in the doors actually, and the Sennheiser sound system. Awesome sound system. And up at the back, for some reason this feels, or it seems like it has more space than a Golf, or particularly the Golf R. The seat back is kind of set behind the pillar, or I feel like the Golf R, the seat is right up against the pillar there. I don't know what it is. It might be just me, it might not be actual facts, but this just seems a little bit more spacious than a Golf R. Like, look at the legroom I've got. My knees are nowhere near the seat in front. The seats are still quite big, so they kind of eat into the perception of space, but overall, I don't know, it just feels just that tiny bit more spacious than a Golf. I'm talking just a little bit. You do have climate controls down here and multiple charging options. You've also got a flip down armrest with 3 different cup holders, and again, massive bottle holders in the doors. Headroom is pretty good, at least for me. I'm not a good benchmark or a good standard to reference, but 170 centimeters, and yeah, my head's not even near the ceiling. It's just getting in and out. You've got to be careful. Just duck your head a little bit. And in terms of boot space, once you figure out where the button is to open the latch, it's actually just underneath the corner of the tail light there. Just on that side. You've got a decent sized boot. Now, I've tried to do some searching to get an actual figure, but it seems like there's 2 different figures out there, 380 litres and 344. It seems like 380 because you've got a multi-level floor here, or at least a removable floor, and you've got quite a bit under there around the subwoofer. That means there's no spare tyre, you've just got a tyre repair kit. Do have these little hooks on the sides just to keep your shopping from floating about, and down below as well. No 12-volt socket though. All right, let's take it for a drive now. I'm keen to see what it feels like with 221 kilowatts going through the front tires, but also the ride quality and the refinement, and then we'll do the performance test later on as well. So what's it like driving a front wheel drive hot hatch with 221 kilowatts? That's a lot of power going through the front wheels. I'll just leave it in the comfort mode, the standard mode. You've got a few different options there: performance, Cupra, and individual, so you can mix and match the different settings for a kind of greatest hits of what you want the vehicle to do the most. If you want the aggressive engine but not the aggressive steering, yeah, you can just play around with the different settings. And in comfort mode, it's fairly normal. I mean, you've got a bit of road roar coming through, which is typically the case for hot hatches because all of the suspension bushes and so on are usually quite firm, which means information from the tarmac is sent straight through all the rods and all the connections there back into the cabin. So you get a bit of road roar and echoing and all that sort of thing. If you have softer bushes, then obviously that's absorbing some of the sound and vibrations. So yeah, it's pretty typical of a hardcore hot hatch. Nothing bad. This is a pretty terrible road, very coarse surface, lots of bumps and ripples along there as well. And it's comfortable. I could drive this to work, no problem at all. In terms of the suspension tune, it's firm, but it's not bone-jarringly firm. As I said, you can feel all the details in the road, but not excessively. I think it's a nice balance for a hardcore hot hatch. When you do flick it over into the performance mode or the Cupra mode, there's a little bit of crashing with the suspension over bigger bumps, which is, you know, that's pretty normal for a hardcore hot hatch. There are more refined packages out there, but at the same time, there are definitely firmer setups out there as well. I do feel like the Golf R, which obviously shares the same platform, is just a little bit more refined in that regard, including with the steering. So this has got what I would call touchy steering or sensitive steering, but only when you move beyond or just off center. So as soon as you start moving, it's okay, but then as soon as it's get into the sort of actual wheel movement, it's quite sensitive, and you think, oh, that was a surprise. You know, it's not that sensitive from center. It sounds a little bit confusing, but basically it just doesn't feel as consistent through the turning motion, even compared with a Golf GTI or Golf R. There's a different system going on here, and it just feels, I guess they're trying to be more aggressive and more sensitive and more hardcore. It obviously takes a little bit of getting used to, and you'll be fine. Just jumping in and out of both the Golf R and the GTI, I do feel just a little bit more progressive and a little bit more consistent. In terms of this transmission, 7-speed dual clutch, look, it's not as clunky as the previous generation DSGs, but at the same time, you know, there are some sacrifices compared with a normal torque converter automatic. Like, it's still got a bit of clunking going on when you go from drive to reverse, and there's a little bit of a delay compared with a torque converter. If you're used to these types of gearboxes, no problem at all. And as I said, it is more refined than previous generation setups. Going with the dual clutch automatic though, you get the benefits of really fast shifts, downshifts and upshifts, and actually it helps improve fuel economy. I'm averaging 9.4 at the moment. That includes performance testing. If you were to drive this every day to work and so on, give it a bit of a squirt every now and again, I reckon you could get it into the 7s quite easily. So even in this comfort mode, it's still very sporty around corners, and it certainly gets up and goes. You can feel the front end, not just one wheel or sort of torque steer, but you can just feel the front end being yanked along, like it's actually got heaps of shove for a front wheel drive. Okay, going back up, we'll put it into the Cupra mode, and I'll turn the stability control off. If you just hit the button once, you get ESC Sport, which allows a little bit of play, a little bit of slip. Then if you hold the button down, you get completely off. You also notice that it's gone into the S Plus mode, so this allows full manual shifting, but also it's more aggressive than the normal S mode. So S mode will hold off upshifts to the last minute, but also aggressively downshift when you get on the brakes. The Plus just means even more aggressive again, and allows full manual control. So even with this traction control off, it's not just spinning all over the place. It's got an awesome diff in the front of this as well to help distribute the power. Go back into the manual mode. Around here, we'll give it full power around. Yeah, that's awesome around there. That could have easily spun the inside wheel, just the way the corner is set up. It's kind of off camber as well. Just throws the weight around in an awkward position. But then at the same time, if it just locked both front wheels, it could have easily torque steered wide. But it didn't. It kind of allows some inside wheel spin, but at the same time, it's sending power to the other side to help sort of pivot the car around the corner. It's the best of both worlds, really, because you get the excitement of a bit of, tugging at the wheel, a bit of wheel spin, but at the same time, excellent directional stability. Now in this mode, the suspension is pretty firm, but it's not too bad. It's not throwing me around. It's not bucking the rear end either. It's remaining very controlled. I wish there was a bit more sound though. Like, I can hear the exhaust whooshing from the back. Not really a bassy sort of burble or anything either. It's like this very just air noise, wind whooshing past. And you can hear a bit of burbling or a bit of bass from the front, and that kind of roary 4-cylinder sound, but it's not very, the volume is quite low. Now obviously they've got emissions laws and all that sort of thing to adhere to, but also refinement to kind of factor in as well. But for a hardcore model like this, I'd expect just a little bit more noise, I reckon. Rip me around there, no problem at all. So it is very, very clever front wheel drive system, even though it doesn't have all wheel drive grip like the Golf R. This is a different animal altogether. In that sense, it's a little bit more playful. Yeah, look at that, just ripping me around. That's insane performance for a front wheel drive. Plenty of torque from this engine as well, from low RPM. You don't have to worry about needing more torque, that's for sure. Hit the red line. Yeah, this is a very exciting hot hatch, that's for sure. The suspension is well sorted. It seems refined. It's not too firm. Doesn't rattle your bones around, but it's still a lot of fun and very, very quick. If I had to change anything, it'd definitely be the sound. I want a bit more exhaust sound coming from the back, a bit more aggression in this, the audio department, because it just seems too quiet for a hardcore model. Fair enough if this was just a warm hatch, but a hardcore hot hatch like this, I think, needs a bit more sound. All right, let's head off now and do the performance test and see what it goes like.